The filibuster in a long period, early 1900s to the 1970s, was used on average one time a year. It was a rarely invoked thing.
Right.
It wasn't invoked in Supreme Court justices. It wasn't invoked for a lot of major pieces of legislation. It began to be abused, especially with Mitch McConnell, really taking the filibuster to a whole new level under Barack Obama. So to say that Joe Biden has changed, the real change you need to point to is the way the modern Republican Party picked up the filibuster and so abused it to the point now where many of us are saying this is ridiculous. We're stopping some fundamental progress in our country that the majority of people agree with. We need to revisit this filibuster.
A few years later.
I don't want to be too hard on people that are excited about the fact that Cory Booker filibustered for over 24 hours and broke the record, because I understand that people are genuinely desperate for Democrats to do something, anything. But what I can't do is be excited with you. Like, people are trying to make this happen, and I'm not. The only even slightly cool thing about this story to me is that he broke the record of a segregationist racist. That's pretty cool. Literally, the record before this was a guy who filibustered all night because he was so racist he didn't want the Civil Rights Act to pass. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool that a black guy broke the record. Okay, that's where the compliments end. That's where the good parts about this story end. Now I'm fixing to trash the rest of it. First of all, typical Democrat, the second it was over, they're sending me fundraising fucking text messages and emails trying to get money from me. I'm not giving you bitches any money. You've done nothing to earn money. You blew over $1 billion in the last election to have your asses handed to you by the Republicans. Don't ask me for money. You should be embarrassed. Second of all, what was he filibustering? What? Nothing. Vibes? Like, he just was talking about how Donald Trump is a threat. He wasn't actually filibustering anything specific or a bill. In fact, the Democrats did the most Democrat thing. As soon as this was over, they all gave unanimous consent to pass through an unqualified Trump nominee.
Boy. So once again, we got to talk about the Democrat Party and the mainstream liberal media's pathetic attempts to manufacture a reality where the Democrat Party is not on life support, right? That is what they're trying to do, okay? We've talked about how they're covering the special elections that happened last night, right? They're trying to cover these elections as if they were sweeping victories for Democrats, even though Democrats basically lost. They lost. But yet this morning, the Democrats and mainstream liberal media, they're treating it as if they won when they didn't win anything at all, right? They didn't win anything. So when you look at this story involving Cory Booker, okay, who is a Democrat senator from New Jersey, who is known for political stunts, right? Just pull the most performative political virtue signal that I've ever seen in my life, okay? Because he stood on the Senate floor for 24 to 25 hours and filibuster, and I'm using filibuster in quotations because he didn't really filibuster anything. He was just there talking, right, for 25 hours straight, right, just ranting about Trump. But again, people are comparing this to Strom Thurmond's filibuster, that, again, actually was a real filibuster that happened during the civil rights era.
We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Joining us now for his first TV interview since his record-breaking speech in the Senate, Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, the new record holder for the Senate's longest ever speech. Senator, how are you?
I'm definitely hurting a little bit, but I'm feeling strong in spirit and grateful to so many people who allowed me to tell their stories on the Senate floor. And so when my team and I decided to do this, we just said, let's take some risks. Let's go out there and see how long we can last. And to be candid, Strom Thurmond's record always kind of just really irked me, that he would be the longest speech, that the longest speech on our great Senate floor was someone who was trying to stop people like me from being in the Senate. So to surpass that was something I didn't know if we could do, but it was something that was really, as we got closer, became more and more important to me.
And the mainstream liberal media, they're praising this guy like he's some type of hero. Like, it's insanity, right? It really is. Like, people are saying that Cory Booker has revived the Democrat Party. He's shown the Democrats that all of them need to be fighting Trump by doing absolutely nothing.
We saw the record set tonight for the longest Senate floor speech. You're going to see that record broken several times over the next couple of years. There's 46 other Democratic senators. Cory Booker has broken the seal. Now the endurance test challenge is going to go to all the other ones because they have finally found their voice. And the voice is resist. Do not let the fascist regime, which unfortunately is the path that the Trump administration is clearly showing they're taking in these first 2 months, win. And they have to stand up and inspire, because certainly a huge segment of the American voters feel that way. We're seeing that in Florida 6 and in Florida 1 tonight.
I was reading the D.C. phone book. What was so different about this is that we saw someone that stood on business. We saw someone that finally disrupted the deafening silence that is happening in Washington, D.C. We saw real leadership for the Democratic Party. And this is the stuff that he highlighted. He highlighted the attack on our institutions, the economic pain that Americans are going through, healthcare and education being under siege, veterans disrespected, national security and international credibility at risk, free speech, academic freedom being threatened, January 6th insurrection is celebrated and not punished. Those are the things that he was talking about. And what I loved when he really began, he said, this is not normal. This is a crisis. I have been saying this for so long. We are in a constitutional crisis. Now is not the time to
And he said all that without peeing once.
That's the voting part. That part.
Stunts, Pollster, and political analyst with us. Frank, a pleasure as always. I'm trying to find the right visualization here because that ballots ran out in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, deep blue Milwaukee, is very telling. Tara Palmieri, very right. Democrats are energized. But are they energized in running in a circle and fighting with each other? Or are they energized in a direction?
They're going crazy right now. And they're going crazy because they don't see leadership in their own party. And I want to emphasize what Cory Booker did over the last 24 hours may have changed the course of political history. I watched a lot of it. I listened to words. I listened to phrases, how he presents himself. Did he criticize Donald Trump? Of course he did. But he struck the kind of tone that grassroots Democrats are looking for. He gave them a reason to fight. He gave them a reason to stand up and say, this is my country too. Of course, every Republican watching will say, this is nonsense. But he's not speaking just to Republicans. He's speaking to Americans. And what I saw over the last 25 hours absolutely blew me away. And just as you sometimes make projections or predictions, I'm going to do one right here. That speech puts Cory Booker as one of the leaders for the Democratic Party, 2028, and I'll go even further. If you ask Democratic senators right now, would they rather have lead them over the next 3 years? They would choose Cory Booker over Chuck Schumer. That's how significant today was.
I say this with respect, and this is your Twitter poll, your X poll, Booker topping Schumer for Democratic Senate leader. Wouldn't my dog beat Chuck Schumer in terms of who Democrats would like to lead them in the Senate?
Okay, I'm not going to insult your dog. I don't know what breed it is.
He's a very cute black Labrador named Dutch. I mean, come on. It's hard to compete with him.
Okay, but Chuck Schumer is not saying what Democrats want to hear. He's not communicating. He's not giving them an alternative. Chuck Schumer was based in the politics of the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. He was damn good 30 years ago, but he's not connecting to the Democrats of today.
When you say something, I have learned to listen. So therefore, I may end up really regretting this segment where I started off calling what Booker did performance art. Because if you're right, then I have this badly misread. I want to play for you back-to-back clips. The first one we're going to play is today, okay, of this part of this 25-hour monologue. And after, we're going to play when Cory Booker last ran for president and tried to have a moment to cut a campaign ad in the United States Senate, and it didn't work out so well from what would have been about 6 years ago, back to back.
He promised to lower your grocery prices, they're higher. He promised, I'll be a better steward of the economy. It's worse than we inherited. Over and over, he's breaking promises and doing outrageous things like disappearing people off of American streets. Do we see what's happening? How much is enough? And I could not understand, and I violated this rule knowingly, why these issues should be withheld from the public. Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment.
All right. Cory Booker's 2020 campaign didn't go anywhere. Spartacus didn't work. Is this a different Cory Booker?
No, and it's not going to work this time, right? This stunt is not going to work this time. I don't care what Frank Luntz has to say. He is the most overrated political analyst I've ever seen in my life. This dude really believes that little stunt actually helped Cory Booker. It might have helped him among some Democrats. I don't know. But, I mean, let's be real. What was he filibustering? He wasn't filibustering anything. He wasn't stopping anything at all, right? Filibustering no agenda on the Senate floor, right? When there's nothing on the floor to filibuster, it's like boycotting Chick-fil-A on Sunday, right? It just doesn't make sense, right? You don't accomplish anything at all. He didn't do anything.
That Cory Booker was doing. I mean, is he just looking for attention? Who is going to sit there and listen to him for 25 hours?
Well, basically, that was just an extended floor speech that accomplished nothing. In fact, I watched many commentators last night say, what was this meant to accomplish? To what end did you break the record of a floor speech? And look, I'm competitive just as the next guy. I once won a chicken wing contest, and I don't really like chicken wings. But breaking records and emotional stunts and blame shifting, that accomplishes nothing. And I am telling you, the American people are ready for real leadership, not just people that call themselves leaders and don't act on that. People like President Trump that will make tough decisions in the best interest of this country and then act on those decisions, just as he did with the northern border, declaring an emergency, trying to stop the flow of illegal immigration and fentanyl and all of the things that have contributed to so many deaths and destruction around this great country.
Security advisor Stephen Miller. I just have to ask, what the hell is going on here, Miller?
Well, first of all, I think that's the first ever filibuster in American history from Cory Booker in favor of getting men into women's sports, keeping our borders open, and making sure that we tax the wages of our tip workers in Nevada. So very courageously, Cory Booker has stood strong for those three issues. Here's what he never filibustered for. Here's what the Democrats never filibustered for. The dead bodies of American citizens raped, mutilated, and murdered by the illegal aliens that Joe Biden and his administration and Secretary Mayorkas funneled into our country during the invasion that took place over the last 4 years. They released people into this nation, not people, monsters into this nation that were pedophiles, that were child rapists, that tortured women, that murdered moms and dads, that committed atrocities that we've never seen before in this country. And now they have the temerity to say that every single invader that Joe Biden let in should get their own individual judicial trial before they're deported, one at a time. Each one gets $1 million trial in front of a communist judge to decide whether or not we can send them home. How about hell no? How about we pick them up and we get them out of this country so they can't hurt anyone else?
And the crazy part about this, right, is that this is the same guy that just a few years ago was for getting rid of the filibuster, right? He wanted to modify the filibuster in order to allow Joe Biden to pass his agenda. That is what Cory Booker was for. The same thing that he just sat on the floor and did a performative filibuster that really wasn't a filibuster. It was just a waste of everybody's time, okay? Again, this guy, just a few years ago, he was one of these Democrats that was against the racist filibuster.
Do they understand that they're dealing with somebody who doesn't believe in anything other than getting what he wants?
It's beyond even Mitch McConnell. I mean, he's changed it for Supreme Court voters. He changed it. He found a way around it to pass that toxic Trump tax cut. But it's been changed over the years 166 times for things that, in my opinion, are far trivial when it compares with the most fundamental aspect of a democracy, is that one person, one vote. And now we have a reality. Republicans are saying we don't need this, but the facts are the facts. Are we comfortable living in a nation where the average black voter right now in America has to wait twice as long to vote as the average white voter? What does that mean in places from Texas to Georgia, where you see people having 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9-hour waits? What does that do? It discourages people from voting. And that's not the only laws that are being passed, finally tailored to discourage certain populations, from young people, Native Americans, African Americans. These are the facts. And so, again, we've changed the filibuster before and altered it for everything from treaties to arms sales. We need to actually change the filibuster to preserve the right to vote in America.
Yeah, so this is a clown show party of hypocrites, giant hypocrites, who at this point are so desperate. They're desperate for attention. They're desperate to make it seem like they're doing something. They're doing something to stop Trump, that they're pulling stunts like this. And which, by the way, I mean, you have to have a very, very, very severe case of Trump derangement to rant about Trump for 24 to 25 hours straight, right? I'm just saying, I mean, there are not many things that I can talk about for hours straight. I definitely can't talk about Trump for 25 hours straight. And the fact that this guy was able to do it, again, it says a lot about his Trump derangement, in my opinion. Okay. So basically, again, this is what I'm talking about, right? In regards to how Democrats are trying to manufacture a narrative along with the liberal media that, hey, the Democrats are back. Okay. Longest filibuster in U.S. Senate history. Except, again, he wasn't blocking anything, right? He wasn't filibustering anything. Okay. He was just talking. He wasn't doing anything at all. But they're celebrating this, right? They're celebrating empty victories. This is where the Democrats are at this point, because their party's on life support, right? They're slowly dying. That's what's happening. Okay. They have a 21% approval rating.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And as their approval rating continues to decline, they get more desperate. And this is why you're seeing these types of stunts. This is why you're seeing it. They have nothing. They have nothing except empty virtue signals. At the end of the day, when it comes to Trump's agenda, in regards to what he really wants to do when it comes to the economy, they can't block it. There's nothing they can do, right? It's going to be in a reconciliation package. There's nothing that they can do. And this is why they're lashing out in ways like this that I think are very cringe in order to try to maintain some relevance, because, again, there's nothing that they can do. This, to me, is sad, is desperate, and I think it really embodies what the Democrat Party currently is about right now, which, again, is empty virtue signaling, not really accomplishing or doing a damn thing. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.